Hello, welcome everybody to Friday Night at the Crib. We're going to talk about bounty and anything else you guys would like us to talk about. The link is in the chat in case anybody would like to join us. Guess I'll introduce everybody that's here right now from left to right. It's the Northman.
Hello, guys.
Magic Mike. Okay. Grimace.
Stepped away. What's up, y'all?
And this is Hefe. So, I don't know. This bounty sort of looks the same as the previous bounties, but it's sort of like they're, at least in my mind, they are letting everybody know that there's something a little bit screwy going on with the base balance, and putting in their face the people that didn't realize before that base balance was a little bit messed up. And so the last time we went through the replica bases version of bounty, the base defenders were Northman. Do you have your YouTube on? I'm getting some weird feedback from you.
I'm muted.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting some weird thing coming back. I'm sorry about that. But this time, if properly equipped bases or properly equipped ships are hitting you, it's pretty difficult to stop them. You can slow them down, and with the maximum of a... All right, everybody trying to do this to me now? Jesus Christ.
Perfect timing, Mike.
What I do?
Well, never mind. With the 4-hour bubble where, they're sort of showing off some of the problems that I see with the bounty process. So how is everybody else doing with their bounty? We'll see if everybody's, gets all the feedback that I've been getting. Grimace, Northman, Mike?
I've been hit a few times, and I kind of feel the same way. Like, I ended up having to drive because you're just, killing them with 1,000 cuts, basically, and it takes forever to kill those ships if they're built right.
Yeah, and it takes how long for your outpost to repair? If it's leveled?
It hasn't been leveled yet at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I think it takes around 11 hours. And I've never gotten over a 3-hour bubble. So it makes it much more difficult to repair your outpost to a point where it can stand up to anything with this 3 or 4-hour bubble. So
yeah, once you get leveled, if you don't corner repair and you get hit as soon as your bubble drops, or pretty soon after, you're not gonna, your base isn't gonna stand up, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Even if you've got your ships up and whatnot, because the new paradigm, I think, as far as base defense is slow them down enough, try to at least make it painful. I've been killing some ships, but it's not like, it's really hard to kill with the death by 1,000 cuts. It's difficult to kill the 2.3 times 5, so 10 million, like 12, 13 million of armor points that way. So you're required to have a little bit of time while they're trying to hit your outpost to finish them off. And if you're only, a quarter repaired, it's going to be difficult, I think, for a lot of people to stop the correctly designed bases. Correctly designed Conqueror hulls are going to come in with the new armors. It's there's not really a huge amount of solutions, especially since a couple days before the bounty, people thought they might have been okay with certain designs, and then they fixed that because there was an issue with the Fire Support 2 and Fire Support 1 aura caps not recognizing the other ones. So you might have been killing stuff with your Howie before, but if you're killing a missile cruiser or missile storm cruiser at this point with your Howies, they have a poor ship design or something else weird is going on, because otherwise you can kill them, but it's going to take a long time. You're not going to kill them quickly. So,
yeah, I mean, the few hits that I've experienced, usually my guard fleet's still very healthy, and they just kind of ignore it. They just try to drive by, as much as they can and just kill buildings. So it's definitely not balanced right now.
No, it's and we have to wonder if this is the long-term goal, this death by 1,000 cuts thing that we've been seeing, this minimum damage game. Is this really the path forward? Is this really what we're expecting at the end? And there really hasn't been any communication about that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I hope it's not. I hope it's not what they're trying to do, but it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, jump on, Ran. I'm going to have to refresh because I'm not sure if it's me or somebody. Is everybody else hearing this feedback when I talk?
Yeah, it's from Northman's mic or something.
Here a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, you pop up sometimes when I'm talking. Your image.
Only when Hefe talks.
Yeah, so I'm going to refresh, and you guys fill the space, and hopefully it's a Google Hangouts issue, and we can solve it that way. But I'll be back in a few seconds.
So what do you think, Northman? You said you've been hitting a lot and being hit. What do you think about the balance in the bases right now?
It's hard. It's for me, personally, it's hard to defend my base. When I'm online, I drive like a bitch. When I'm not online, I also lose. So my base isn't good enough to take. But I get irritated when someone hit me and it costs me 12 coin to repair my base. I use the 12 coin and I go straight out and hit them back. And if I fail, I go to the neighbor. Same alliance. It's fun, but as you were saying, there's no balance in the game really. But
are you seeing the same thing we're seeing, where your ships are pretty much alive and your base is just everything else is crumbling around it?
Yes, to get in a high-end base today, and I do it when I hit, you have to click at the end of the base, you have to drive, and as you drive, you try to click on some of the stuff, not the ship, but building whatever, so you can get the damage you want. And if you're lucky, you slide through to the OP and you kill the OP. And
right. That's the exact same thing I'm seeing.
Yeah. So when I hit repair on my base guard, there's like 1.5, 2 hour, 2.5 hour repair. So that's not bad because they cannot kill my guard. Actually, a few has killed my guard also, but other than that, the guard has good health left, but the base is in scrambles.
Yep.
Yeah. Is it better now, Happy?
Oh, let me try again, but it sounds a little bit better so far. But I talked to Grimace when I saw his base is putting something. Don't put all your ships at the front and leave like a blank zone that your ships aren't defending. Put some ships towards the back. That way, there's no blind zone for your ships, and that way you can at least keep on doing minimum damage the entire time. I mean, that's what I've tried, but it doesn't always help.
No, it takes so long to kill their ships, even with your ships. That if they have a strong enough fleet and your OP is already weakened, that's not even going to help.
Yeah, and I guess we can talk a little bit about. I mean, I guess we can move on to that eventually, but as far as the after watching Rampage Live today, and it seems that the defender halls are never going to be ship killers. They're going to be support. I'm not sure how that's going to work out unless we get new turrets or something of that nature.
Yeah, unless we get some new ship killers.
Yeah, because it's really pushing people to use Conqueror hulls with, maybe a higher range or higher reload, or unless we get a different weapon for the Warden. And Northman, could you do me a favor? Like when you're not talking, I want to test this out. Could you go on mute? Because I get this. I'm not sure if it's me, but okay.
No, I was hearing it too.
Yeah, but yeah, now it's stopped. But yeah, if you could, there's some weird feedback going on when I talk, and because you pop up on the screen, on the Hangout screen when I'm talking. But feel free to unmute when you want to talk. But it's
okay,
distracting.
Yeah, I can try and refresh and see if it helps.
Okay, that's all good. Okay, but yeah, it seems to be encouraging people to use Conqueror halls at this point in their base, because I don't see how the Warden is going to kill those ships, and our turrets don't kill those ships.
Well,
so,
and I think one reason why people might be using Conquerors, or another reason, I mean, aside from the fact that they actually do more damage and they survive, but we're also getting a lot of tokens, so they're easier to build, faster to build. Trying to build defenders takes forever.
Yeah, and they've kept that up and repaired them, because if you take a look at the newest one, it's a 6-day plus build for the hull, as opposed to a 15-hour build if you're going to go with a newer Conqueror, and then it has a 3-hour base repair as opposed to a 30-minute base repair.
Right.
It's or 3 hours and 45 minutes, right? And then you start adding on the new armors, and I think it's almost 9.5 hours to repair the tier 7 Conquerors if you have 5 of them in your base, as opposed to a third of that time for the Conquerors. And it puts the players in a not the best position in my opinion, because the Conqueror, the person with the Conqueror knows they need to go back and repair, right? The person with the Defender doesn't know that because they shut off the emails, they did all that stuff. So you may come back and you have 2 hours to repair 9+ hours, and it doesn't seem balanced at this point, because it's not like I just don't understand the logic behind it. Because it seems like I can't even come up with a potential logic for it, because it's taking that player that's just sitting there with their base and may have slept or gone to work or whatnot and lost 8 hours off of a 12-hour bubble or whatnot. But potentially,
Battle Pirates players do that.
Yeah, well, not all. I mean, they're up all night.
I think that's what they think sometimes. They really do.
Yeah. Well, it just provides too much of an advantage in my base hitter, and it makes no consideration for the other people that want to get involved, in PvE, that realize they're going to get hit back. And they're just missing half of it. They're just listening to people that I like to hit bases and da-da-da-da. But these same people don't like to have their bases leveled. And so they're listening to part of the story I think they're getting from the players, but they're not listening to the entire story.
So do you think that survey that they put out is going to help?
Yeah, I think they need help on writing surveys. That was the number one takeaway that I had. There were so many questions that I either had to completely ignore because I didn't either I couldn't understand it. I mean, like, what do you want to understand more? I mean, it'd be nice if is it everybody done it?
I did several
Because
others. I responded several times with the other.
No. I was just thinking. If somebody, at least maybe on YouTube, you don't have to talk, but if you haven't done the survey yet, we could potentially do. I've done it, so I can't access it again. Is that we could do a live walkthrough and discuss?
That would be cool.
Yeah, but I think everybody's done it so far. So we can't actually go through the questions. I should have saved it in some way, but it was, oh, you don't like, if the question the question they were asking you, if you didn't fall into one of their categories, you loved everything. And that was the weird one. Or you didn't understand anything. There was like a lot of weird questions in there that to actually get data from the players, they needed to provide a better set of potential answers to their questions.
There you go. That's why I said I used the other option quite a few times.
But as I recall, there wasn't an other option with some of them. It was like,
yeah,
especially the ones like
the pick.
Let me see.
Yeah, and I just skipped them.
Although I think some of them did have the button for none.
I can potentially.
I feel a few of them did.
Okay, I don't want to fill it out, but I can get the survey on the screen.
Okay, you just don't have to set send.
Okay.
I'll let you screen share, and we can
because
we can go through and discuss. Some of the questions that were asked, and if anybody would like to join, it seems like it's an interesting. Semi-interesting thing because we can talk about that, or we can talk about the Manticore. But the Manticore, we don't have a lot of details about the new assault hall. There wasn't much going on with Rampage Live as far as details, besides the fact that there's not going to be a show for another 3 weeks.
Okay, it should be on screen.
Okay. I will isolate on you. All right. Rate how important base defense is to you. That's an easy question. Important to not important. Let's go on to the second one.
For me, it was like a 4.
How fun. Okay. These are, whatever. These are softball questions.
Yeah, it was a 3 for me. Actually, it was a 4. That was a hard one to answer.
Yeah, how much time do you actually think about it? I mean, and there was no other on this one as far as like.
I think I used a 2.
I mean, I would have liked to use a 4, except for building walls, and I'm not building walls because it's such a pain in the ass.
No, you're right.
And that's a 4 plus the walls, and then if you're building walls, it's a 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there was one later on that you could have filled that out on the other, but like this one, and I put this later on too. But I was thinking if they would have had a spot right now, I would have said something about how clunky and cumbersome the base designer is, and how long it takes to like build something, and then. Say you hop out and you look at it and you go, oh, that's actually not going to work the way I thought it was going to work. And you go in and then you have to change it. And you can spend hours jacking with that. And it's just because it's so slow to do.
From my perspective, I would have answered number 1 on the 3 first. 100%. That is important for me. Defend my base, have a good base.
Yeah, I mean, you may put a lot of thought into it, but as far as the rest of it, like collecting uranium, titanium, whatnot, and I mean, that's what takes the time. Plus building walls. Those are the time-consuming parts of it. Is the collection of resources and then just building walls. At least in my opinion.
Yeah, we
might put some thought to it. Yeah, so. Let's go to number 4. How much time would you like to spend?
Yeah, so this again relates back to what I was saying. Like, I would say probably a 4 because you want to spend a little time on it. It is a strategy game after all, but half your time in the game. Come on.
Because 4, you have pride in your base defense.
Yeah, I've hit some bases. I was surprised to see Buccaneers and some of these bases. I saw hit on level 100 replica base with Buccaneers in there, and that person might have been spending time, but not a lot of thought.
I think that for me the game is defending and attacking, and if my base sucks, I could might as well just quit the game.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a farm.
And I feel the same way as you do, but there are people out there that literally don't care about their game, their base, and all they want to do is go out and hit other people.
Yeah, that's okay. If you want to hit and you don't care about your base, that's a different thing. But either you, and for me, I like to defend. If I hit someone, I reckon he will come hit me back. If I lose, I don't like it. If he smash miss, I get even more pissed. But for me, the game is defending, hitting bases. For me, that's what is fun.
Mm-hmm. So is it a good thing when you get pissed, or you're more likely to play or less likely to play when you get pissed, or it doesn't matter, it's just sort of you lost?
I want to improve my base, and I want to succeed hitting the one that leveled me.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, let's move on to number 5, Mike. Yeah. I mean, people should have probably waited until now to fill out this. As far as, I mean, Mike is just getting hit with people with 5 slots, and that's you'd be happy with your base.
Yes, yes.
But if you're getting hit with
it's all relative.
Cruisers and 2 onslaughts, you're probably less happy.
And that was the hit last night was missile cruisers, and I was not happy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went from 5 last night to a 1 today. Who knows what the next one will be?
You mean a 1 last night to a 5 today?
I was not happy at all with my base last night.
Oh,
and I was very happy with it today.
I had it backwards.
Yep.
Yeah, this should have been a 1 to 5. This should have been a 1 to 5. Because I don't watch all of them if it's somebody just peeking my base. But yeah, if they do even if they hit a 25% bubble, I'll watch it.
Yeah, so you're sometimes.
Cuttlefish wants you to read the questions out loud because he's on his phone and can't read it.
Okay. How often do you watch battle replays? Always, sometimes, rarely, never. So, I'll do that from now on. But yeah. I mean, it would have been nice if how could we improve battle replays? I mean, assuming it's all going to be sort of fictional based on your mouse clicks and not accounting for evades or criticals or things like that. I would love to have a pause button and a fast forward button. Okay, let's go on to number 7. How helpful do you find replays in helping you improve your base? Very helpful, somewhat helpful, not helpful. I rarely never watch replays. See, this is the one that they should have an other and a comment on.
I agree. Yeah, because there's got to be some way to make it better than it is, because sometimes you can watch a replay multiple times and it's different each time you watch it. And like if you watched it live, it may or may not be anything like what happened. I mean, sometimes it's like way different. And so you can't really learn from that because you don't know if that's really what occurred, especially if you don't watch it live. You can't really learn from that. So that's taking away part of that strategy of, well, I built this base, someone hit me, they succeeded. I want to figure out how to counter that next time. But you may not even be watching the real, what really happened. So you don't know what to fix.
I mean, because the bright side of it, the way I understand the replay is constructed, these are possibilities if the attacking player had done the same thing. These are all possible things. It may not be what happened, but okay, the evade, you missed a shot here, or you may have gotten a critical here when you didn't, and different things might have happened. But these are all possibilities of things that could happen.
Yeah,
so it's
like I was watching a replay yesterday, and on the first one I watched, I actually watched this hit live too, so I know how it happened. The guy's ships died very early in my channel. But he actually got in behind my outpost, so it was like nowhere near. I could see if he would have made it kind of around and then died somewhere in that general area, but he didn't even make it around my island, and in the replay, and he died. But then you watch it later, and he actually makes it around. So like each time, it was a little different.
Let's move on to the okay. Let's go to the next one. How often do you redesign your base layout? At least once a month, once every 1 to 3 months, less than once every 3 months, rarely, never. I mean, does redesign meaning like, I thought about Grimace's base design, and I was going to provide him some insight or some thoughts I had, and then I realized he's like changed it twice since then. So some people are, like, you had a completely different base today than you did 2 days ago.
I change my base quite often.
Yeah. So there's Grimace, at least once a month, and then there's like, okay,
myself, I haven't changed mine
move
in
some
a long
turrets.
time.
You might move some turrets around, but yeah, he did like a massive, work over, So yeah, let's move on. How often do you update defense platforms in individual buildings? So I guess that could be it. Continuously, sometimes rarely. I think most people are continuously doing that. Yeah. So okay, let's go on to 10. Get this taken care of. What's your biggest pain point related to improving base defense? My turrets, components, or other structures are outdated. I'm not sure which turrets to use. I'm not sure where to place my turrets, traps, etc. optimally. There aren't any effective traps or defense halls out there. That's the one I chose. I'm not sure how to compose a good guard fleet. My defense halls are outdated. Turrets are too expensive to update. Building updates are too expensive. It's all too time consuming. So, or other.
I think I did an other on this one.
I did too.
What did you guys say?
I think mine was something about the minimum damage game that we're playing right now. I don't really care for that. And I don't remember what my other point was.
Yeah, because they keep on providing us long distance, low damage. Well, at this point, long distance, low damage turrets, and they have compared all the short range stuff.
Oh yeah, my other point was about build times and how crappy it is, even with base parts with some of the turrets. And I kind of understand. Stuff, yeah, I kind of understand. They're more powerful, blah blah blah, but they're still super long builds, and it's bad if you change your mind like I do. You change your base design and you go, oh, I need this type of turret over here instead of that type. Yeah. And it's just the time required is ridiculous.
All right, let's go to number 11. All right, somebody else want to read this one for Kettle?
Number 11 says, I have the most understanding of utilizing in my base guard fleet composition, i.e. what ships to use or what whips to use. Wow. Turret composition, i.e. what turrets to use, structured tactical modules, optimal guard fleet placement, optimal turret placements, optimal structure placement, strategic land tile placement, or none. I hope you got all that.
There's no other category. This is one of the ones I skipped over. there is no other category to, like, one example would be the structural tactical modules. Like, okay, they show in the game that fire supports work additively when they actually act multiplicatively. And so the fact that they provide us false information on designing our base, but I know that they're providing us false information. Yeah, fix your shit. I mean, that's what I would have written, probably with a little bit more details. But anybody else have thoughts on this one?
That's a stupid question.
Okay, all right. Well, the next one's even stupider then. Let's go on to I have the least understanding of the same stuff. With it, instead of none, it's all fuzzy to me.
That's what I picked.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I picked. It's all fuzzy to me.
Okay. There we go. You know, as opposed to it's all furry to me, which is a whole different thing.
Whole nother conversation.
Yeah, yes. For the after show.
Yeah.
I have, yeah. And now we have the same thing. I have the least understanding utilizing.
He clicked on that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't move
13.
up.
Okay.
Still tucking fuzzy.
Okay. Well, what tech currently has the highest impact in defending your base? Guard fleet, turrets, transformers, structural tactical modules, mega traps. I don't know. I think they all should work in there independently and equally in a good strategy. And one shouldn't have.
But that's not the question. The question is what tech
I know.
currently.
But there's guard fleet and traps, and the Omega gun is useless at this point. The turrets are basically useless at this point. The transformers provide a little bit, but yeah, the guard fleet is the answer. But they, if they asked this question 2 weeks ago, it would have been different.
Hell, a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago. Yeah, before the introduction of the MC3 armor.
Yep.
All right. In your opinion, what should a defender fleet primarily do for your base? Directly kill ships, defend turret structures, buff guard fleets, debuff attacker, or other? My answer was other. Was basically we should have a variety of defender hulls that we can put together into a fleet that we can strategically come up with a combination of those four categories in order to defend our base and have it work with our turrets and our overall base design. I don't think it should just be one of these things, because if they keep on feeding us defenders, people are going to start using conquerors, and I don't think that's what they want to do. I don't think they want to have people start using conquerors because of the reduced repair time, the reduced build time, and their better ability to directly kill ships. So I think they need to provide a variety in some way.
Probably no surprise, but I saw a lot of Conqueror hulls in the replica bases.
Yeah, I was always surprised to see the PvE hulls in there too. That was always amusing.
Yes, when I went in there and there was a wit, I knew I wasn't going to kill it, so I left.
A wit.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that last one, Hefe. I pretty much said the same thing. It just wasn't as wordy.
Okay. All right. What type of tech do you feel is missing from your base in order to be more competitive? I'll read through them, but guard fleets, turrets, turret armors, turret specials, transformers, structural tactical modules, Omega traps, something that does damage, and I don't know.
I picked I don't know because I don't know. They don't give you, and maybe it's just me, but they don't give you enough information so you can understand what each and every one of these things actually does. There's no...
That's true about the structure of tactical modules.
Not in every single one of these, obviously. But there's no Battle Powers for Dummies book out there. And there's an I don't know for a lot of these. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There needs to be another. I mean, because I think a lot of people would pick is something that does damage, besides minimum damage, and a way to achieve that. I think that would be, provide them more valuable data as far as what the players are thinking. So let's go on to 16. I think we're around the corner. We're almost there.
We're getting close. Yeah.
Okay. How much impact does base parts have in your base activity? High, I cover more than 80% of my cost. Was it medium? Lower, half of my cost. Low, I barely make a dent. I think most higher end player. Go ahead.
You were just going to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're taking a word.
Yeah. Most higher end players are covering more than 80% of their cost/time with base parts because it's stupid not to.
Exactly.
No.
That's
17.
kind of a dumb question, actually.
Yeah. How often do you collect base parts? Daily, when I need it. Let's move on.
Yep.
Somebody else want to read this one?
I am missing or haven't built turrets because I don't own the blueprint or tech. I have the blueprint, but haven't built it yet. I don't have enough base parts to build it yet. I don't have any open defense platforms. My defense platform is not high level enough for the turret I want to use. I'm maxed out on base power. I don't know what turrets to build. I don't plan on building more turrets for my base. I like all my current turrets.
Okay. See that this is the question where it started to upset me, but at least as another. I mean, because it's like, because it's because I haven't built turrets, but it doesn't mean I like all my turrets because they don't do any damage anymore.
All right.
I mean, that was my answer on this one. But
I don't know what they're going to learn from that question, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then 19. Oh, okay. 19, so we don't finish on an even number. Obviously, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's driving you mad, isn't it, Mike?
Should have had 18 questions or 20, not 19.
What about 21? Like blackjack?
No, that would have been.
I'm missing or haven't built a card fleet for my base because I don't own the blueprint. I haven't built the conquest yard yet. I'm homeless and living behind a convenience store. I don't have enough time to build it in my shipyard. I don't have enough time to build it in my conquest yard. I don't have enough titanium to build in my Conqueror yard. I don't know what ships to build. I don't plan or use a guard. I like my current guard or other. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, well, I mean, in case anybody hasn't filled it out, I'm trying to remember the question where I brought up the walls, but I guess we can end with this. There's one when they talk about time and whatnot. So, yeah, we can move on.
Okay, you can just take me off the.
Hey,
Sure.
I think G Daddy is trying to talk and he's having issues. I think he's asking a question over in the Hangout chat for you.
No, I haven't done anything to your mic. You haven't even made a noise yet. I haven't even turned your volume down. So there we go. No, I haven't done anything.
So speaking of that on that survey, it was talking about, or we were talking about giving information and stuff. Has anyone figured out what the berserk means on the new trap? Has anyone seen it in action?
No.
Yeah, I got one on my base, and but not the berserk. I haven't been able to change faction yet, but it didn't seem to be doing much when I got hit. But you can't really tell. It's hard to say.
Well, I don't understand that one because it has 115 range, and it's dealing with splash mostly. So you're probably getting hit with a lot of players with sloths, and they can just kindly and walk around and avoid it and not have it be part of the game. I don't understand that trap at all. You know, the way it's designed. I mean, if it had a huge range, you know, a 300 range, then it might make sense to me. But the way I understand it and the way I've seen people, you know, I've seen some hits with it, but it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't. To me, it didn't seem to do much. I don't know. I thought it'd be better than it would do. What would I say? It would do more than what it did.
Do something? Okay. What did it do?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I still got splashed out.
See, but the I'm assuming that the 115 range is associated with the location of the ship, not a projectile traveling over to that. That hasn't been explained either. And I'm assuming if the ship has to be in this aura in order for this to work.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Yeah, and so with the 115 range, it just seems so easy to.
You'll never have a ship in its range. Because the buses will be on the outside, so they'll never come into range of that. So that'll be totally useless then if it's 115 range and the ship has to be within it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the penetrative overlay seems useful, but yeah, that one not as much, at least in my mind. So, well, now that we're done with the survey, does anybody else have any other ideas besides mine with the Reaver trap doesn't make any sense?
I mean, that's why I was asking if anyone had any experience with it, because I know there's got to be some people out there that already have it equipped and are using it, or at least used it for a little bit. You know, I was hoping someone would with it.
Yeah, it might be something that might be useful in the future, but right now, until they get rid of sloths, I don't see a big use for it. I mean, it might be more useful if you're having onslaughts with the new rockets or the Q mortars. Then it might provide some sort of usefulness if your entire fleet is tier 7. But right now, with the remote targeting from the sloths, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be put in right now, at least in my opinion.
Well, there is against the sloths. There's nothing you can do right now. I don't know what you could do. There isn't. I mean, I can stop 3 missile cruisers and stuff, but I can't stop 1 missile cruiser and 3 sloths in a bus. There's no way. There's no way.
You can stop 3 missile cruisers that are with 3 MCs and 2 of the V armors.
Well, I don't know what armors they had on, but I stopped them.
Okay, yeah.
But I couldn't stop 1 missile cruiser with 3 sloths in a bus. So
yeah,
it's one of them things, I guess. I mean, I thought when I put that, like when I got done, I quickly did the TLC and did my got my base parts and put it all together and shit. And thought, oh yeah, I won't be getting splashed out again. Bullshit. It works just as well.
So I know Hefe isn't into mega ships. Is anyone else into those? And have you done the TLC?
Since they fixed it, I was able to finish it. Now that it's fixed.
Have you looked at the new drone module?
Not in detail, no.
Just looking at it from a cursory glance and going off of my experience with the missile drones, the missile drones, if you don't put weapons on them, they really don't do a lot of damage by themselves with the built-in missile that they have, right?
Right.
They're weak. So the rocket one has actually less damage than the missile one does. The only thing that's really different other than that is that it has a little bit different deflections because they each kind of have their strong points. But the deflections are so small, you know, especially when a lot of times you're fighting megas, some other Conqueror fleet or something comes in, they die pretty quick. I just don't see where it makes a lot of sense, and a lot of people are stressing over trying to get that module, you know, because it's the new thing.
I actually had to go at the mega campaign, and I got to pack 2. I couldn't do pack 3, but I got the drone module and I've refit that now, so I'm going to try pack 3 again, see how it goes.
Yeah, once they fixed the problem with the drones on your ship actually driving, because like early in the TLC they just would stick to the front of the ship. Once they fixed that, it was pretty easy going.
It was a whole lot easier.
That was a bit of a piss off for me actually, because where they were sat, I couldn't range them, and I had to wait for my cannons to shoot before I could kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you do it right in the beginning, like the first day?
In first hour of it coming out.
But you didn't go to PP4. It was only PP4 that was bugged.
Well, no, I
3
found
and 4, I think.
pack 1.
No, just I think it
Those
was
are the last 2
They were
encounters. You're
just
right.
sat there.
Before.
What were you saying, G Daddy? I'm sorry.
In pack 1, they were just, or what it pack 2, they were just sat there right outside at range of my Conqueror rocket, so I had to wait until my cannons fired, because no one had fired at them otherwise.
Talking about their ships?
Yeah, their ships were just sat right outside of me.
Weird, because like I saw mine, like they stopped, but then after a little bit, they would move a little bit closer and a little closer and a little closer, and then your rockets would take them out.
Right.
Or at least mine did.
No,
but no, on
the
last prize pack, it was actually glitched where your drones wouldn't leave the ship. They would sit right in the front of the ship. So it made it very difficult.
Okay.
But then they fixed it, and it was much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a go at pack 3 again anyway and see if I can do it with no drone module, see if that helps.
Anybody else got anything you want to talk about?
We're going back to survey. I was going to answer a few questions, but my mic wasn't working for some reason again. For some reason, when I enter the Google Hangout, it just stops working, does my mic, until I can fix it again. So I've got it going now. But basically, I was going to say I'm not liking the fact we need better turrets, but we need them to go on level 8 turrets as well as 9s, because I'm having to wait until I get an upgraded level 9 turret before I can equip it with a weapon. And it's a bit, you know, hard on me because I'm a non-coiner, but Kicks, I don't care about that.
So is anybody either in chat or in the panel figured out what the hell's going on with the Halo 2?
No, I haven't even seen it yet.
Okay, it's available. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the only potential use that I see for it at this point in time is associated with the fact that it would boost your executioners, but I'm not sure it boosts them enough to actually do any damage. It's a weird prize. The first Halo worked for a while, followed by the Brimstone, and they worked for a while when ships were slower, but a projectile speed of 60 and a damage of 44K, it's not going to do damage to anything besides minimum damage, and that's got a reload time of 15. So
they were originally designed, weren't they, to keep ships moving to stop them like prepping your base out and stuff like that, but the projectile speed nowadays is not enough to keep up with the ship's combat speed, what we've got. They'll just sail straight past it.
Well, but even if they hit, they're not going to do anything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do any damage. They don't do any damage even if they hit. So yeah, that's
Even if the nerf hits, they don't do much neither.
But 44,000. I mean, if you put one plate of an armor on, yeah, it's not doing anything.
It's like spitting at your ships, isn't it?
Yeah. Matt's saying it's only to boost the Executioner 2. But is that boost enough to actually overcome a halfway decent built ship? Because the Executioner 2 is not doing anything but minimum damage at this point. I mean, it just seems like a weird thing to introduce, unless there's something on the blueprint that is something that's not on the blueprint that we're not seeing that it does.
They would never do that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, yeah, I was waiting on that. Kids would never do that.
So, let me see. Anybody else have anything?
You can guarantee you as much as all of these prizes look like they suck, if you don't get them, you're gonna cry.
Exactly.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah. But I get pissed when the prizes are available. We have all these things to choose from, right?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna change them next week.
And
you're not sure which one to get. They're gonna change them.
They're gonna buff them. One's gonna be better. One's gonna be worse. And whatever you take is gonna be wrong. Whatever you don't take, you're gonna cry about.
But this is a fucking strategy game, right?
Yeah, that's the strategy.
And they're not giving me the information.
That's the strategy.
That's
the strategy.
Get everybody off.
Get it all. Expect them to change it, and then have to refit whatever one you didn't use.
Sure.
Later on. Yeah. That's the strategy.
I've always said that.
You know, I honestly wish that somebody from Kicks had to get on these shows and explain what the hell they're thinking. Instead of, oh, look, shiny, here, have a boat. What's the boat good for?
Yeah,
oh, don't worry about that. Here's a countermeasure. What's the countermeasure good for? What's it shoot down? What does it not shoot down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is anybody, I guess nobody knows at this point, does that new countermeasure actually tag and make your elite countermeasure not fire it?
So wait.
You don't know what the other tag. I got a question, Grimace.
Time out.
Hefe, you never knew previous to the Dark Alliance what countermeasure tagged what until you got the information. So what makes you think they're going to give us this information now, since we don't have data miners? I mean, come on. You know, you can't keep beating this horse and expect them to be different because they're not going to change.
Well, they have made changes. I mean,
they've made cosmetic changes.
Well, they did provide the pass-through damage eventually.
Well, no, wait a minute. We knew it was 360, right? So now everything says 360. Oh, okay.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, because you're living. I'm only dealing with tier 7 hulls, but if you're dealing with other stuff, the difference between 360 and 10 is huge in a strategy game. I mean, because we have to think about this again as a strategy game and not whatever's going on right now. At least that's what I started playing, 8 years ago.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. Why do you keep referring to it as 10 if it says 100? And why do you refer to it as 360 instead of 36? You got me confused every time you say 10 because the pass-throughs that I've seen say 100 and 360.
I think you need to look around more. Some of them are as low as 2.
Okay. I think the Pride do 10 or something.
So what I was saying was, and you can take this for what this is, but because I don't know anything about this gentleman, but the Vengeful One, who's the moderator on the forums, he said it only shoots missiles once, but shoots mortars until they land. So take it for what it is.
That's some extensive programming.
Okay, so it shoots at missiles once.
So it'll tag missiles, but it doesn't tag mortars. Basically, it's a combination of the failing gales, I guess.
Yeah, so it's a combination of flanks and gales.
Yeah, so that makes me like it less because if you were using your Gales to fire at them, they would keep on firing. But if you that makes it less desirable. I'm not sure that I would put that on because now you're opening yourself up to missiles. Even though we can't tell until recently how well the elite countermeasures was able to shoot down missiles because of the what?
Said you got a good point there. I mean, now that we finally got our visuals back, at least.
Yeah, it's yeah, and it would have been nice if that was somewhere included in the blueprint, and not page 4 of some post and whatnot. It's poor communication.
Yeah, I mean, even though page 3.
Okay.
Page 3 of no. I'm just saying so people can go and look themselves if they want to read it. It's page 3 of the update 328 and Bounty Season 8 discussion thread.
Yeah, I was just using that as an example where the information that we're supposed to know is hidden in these locations.
I was just saying it so people could go read for themselves and see what he said. Whether we can take that to the bank or not, I don't know.
No, he should probably know, but I'm just saying that I would love in the forum if they had made GDR write a post every week, and it would be its own forum category. So players new to the game or players that have been playing the game for a long time could go through and read and understand the mechanics of the game. Because I think he does a very good job of explaining the mechanics. Sometimes the mechanics he explains change, and he gets called out on that. But I think he does a very good job of explaining it to the players on how things work. And it should be consolidated into one location, not mixed in with other stuff and in the update archives and things of that nature. But it would help if every update it's like Rampage writes one and then Raken writes one explaining what we've got new and how it works in a certain way. And I think it would be much more of a strategy game at that point, and the information would be much more obtainable. That you wouldn't have to go around and I want to search for this and I want to search for that. I mean, because there's a lot of weird things out there. The most recent one was how criticals work when criticals are modified. That I didn't understand. I wouldn't have guessed. That basically it starts at 0. It doesn't start at 100. And then you got to take a look at the man special, which is plus 100. So does that mean it doesn't do anything? There's a lot of weird stuff out there that, it'd be nice if he started building a knowledge base that people could go and look at and understand the game better, as opposed to have, like I said, listening to these penny ante YouTube shows where people are trying to guess at what they're doing or, have some sort of knowledge of it. It's a strategy game. It's not a mystery game.
Yeah. By the way, Laredo in chat confirmed that that's the way it works.
Okay.
So thanks, Laredo.
Yep. So, all right, we're running at the hour. I mean, everybody expects these shows to go for 2 hours, but is there anything in chat that you would like to, any topics that you guys would like to talk about, or anybody on the panel that, has anything that we haven't touched on yet?
I have one thing.
Sure.
When we hit those replica bases, I think it should be like when you hit an ordinary base. If you kill all the buildings, you get the victory. But now you have to maybe for 3 minutes hammer an Omni or whatnot to get the full kill of a base. I think that's wrong. It's boring. It's time consuming.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, are you? Oh, well, yeah. yeah, as far as I have a whole rant on what's wrong with bounty right now. Now that we're seeing the newer stuff in it, is like, why not change the rules to replica bases to be the same as they are for hitting a player base?
Exactly.
Because you can't kill some of these ships. You can go in and you may not be taking any damage, but it's like it's too it's like two senior citizens jello wrestling is the way I look at it.
Are you saying
you have to bring in like a second
two 90-year-olds jello wrestling against each other? Nothing is going to actually happen. It just takes a lot of time, and there's a lot of extra skin going on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's nothing wrong with Jello wrestling, but when you mentioned the 90-year-olds, well, yeah, that's a bit of a problem.
Well, there's no, they're just gonna wear out and and probably take a nap.
And also, I don't understand the way they give you the point for killing a base. I could kill a level 78, it gives me 280 points. I go and kill a level 101, gives me 240. I don't see how could they difference the point they pay out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the topic is what changes with knowing the way the game is now, and the fact that it's much more player versus player than it was previously, and we have different hulls. What rule changes would you make to bounty? Relative to, everybody loved the last bounty, but this one's a little bit different. And what rule changes would you make? I mean, like we've brought up a couple. One is the fact that, make hitting the replica bases the same rules as it is for hitting a player base. That would be a big one. Does anybody else have any? I mean, I have some. I have some, but I want to let other people see what they have to say.
You're on about with 25% with bubbles and shit like that as well.
No, but I'm saying as far as the kill, you get your points at 50%, and you kill the outpost. You don't need to go on and kill all the ships, all the oil rigs that are all over the freaking map. You don't need to do all that stuff. You just need to kill. You just need to kill the outpost and do 50% damage, and then you get the points associated with it.
But what I think is good with the bounty is that when you go with your fleet and you hit numerous replica bases, the resource will go back to your base, and after you kill like 20 of the replica, you have full of resources. You can build walls and whatnot. You don't have to go back.
You're just trolling me.
and leave. It's just fill up. I have built a shit out of walls during this bounty.
Yeah. My problem with building walls is not gathering resources. My problem is the fact it takes like 15 seconds per each upgrade. And you have 600 walls with upgrade up to 10. So you have to take like 6,000 actions. They're going to take 15 seconds each. And it takes several days of constant just mindless clicking in order to get that done.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's not, I'm not built for that. I mean, I know there's some people on this panel that are built for that. Magic Mike is probably number one, but I'm not built that way as far as playing a game where I'm, it's my free time. It's my enjoyment that I don't find that enjoyable. I don't find it, I'm not a completionist. I don't feel like something needs to be completed just because it's not. I like to look for a use for it, and I like to look at cost benefit. And the cost benefit on building walls at this point is, combined with entertainment value, is very poor in my mind.
It should be like that. If I start building a wall, I could have the option if I want to go to level 1, 5, 7, 10. If I have resources to go from level 1 to 10, that should be the option. I click it.
Yeah. I mean, and the other side of that is, in addition to that, it's never mind. I'm too I'm too angered by the wall thing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead. I mean, the wall thing is just like, I just find it maddening that they haven't fixed it yet. And because it's been a problem for a long time. Because the other issue with walls is the actual Xanthium and resource consumption causes these people to go from, I wish we had Holshun because he's got his little alt. Like, just leveling up the walls causes you to go up massively in base level. The little ones, you level up those walls and they might gain several levels just by upgrading their walls because of the massive consumption of resources and the way that the system is set up as far as resources spent and resources gathered. But that's a sort of a side thing. So,
yeah. Cuddle brought up another good point in chat I saw about the cost of all the prizes in Bounty and how much more expensive it is than like last time.
Well, it's more expensive, and it's also more expensive to get those points because of the unless you're going to go on hit basis. And so, yeah, he says Sunday's going to be a bloodbath, and that's, I mean, I think whenever I have any, whenever I have 800 points, I'm getting hit.
Yeah,
I was able to stop everybody, before Bounty. So it's it's tricky. I mean, it's basically a strategy game in order to get to your lock. And if you have the right fleets, you can just walk in on somebody that has 20,000 unsecured and go in and hit them if you have the right fleet. And I don't think they're going to stop you. Especially if they're not on.
From this bounty to the last one that I think I never got hit last time it was bounty, because then the bases, the guard, and what you had in, it wasn't worth it. But this time, it's so easy to walk many bases. Of course, there are a few that you cannot hit, but many bases you can get in and level if you are a high-end player and they have the best fleet, of course.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference from this bounty to the one we had last one. I don't think I got hit last bounty. This time I get hit every goddamn time my bubble drops. So that's the biggest difference, I think. And also, another fun point is that we were complaining about the goddamn raid every month. We have to do shit all the time. And now Kixeye has fooled us into actually doing raid every 14 days. Because if you want to have a Conqueror and you want to be able to kill bases, you have to do bounty and you have to do the raid 14 days later to get the PV in shit and whatnot. So they actually got us playing 2 raids a month now. And I have not seen any discussion about that, but in my opinion, that's wrong. When we have the raid 1 time a month, they should offer us a Conqueror hull also, but we only get the PvE shit all the time.
Yeah, for a while there, and that's one of the things I was pushing for, is that you could get the Defender hull in the raid, you could get a Conqueror hull, the newest Defender hull in the raid, and the newest Conqueror hull in Bounty. And I thought that was a good balance, and now they've...
So when do you get the PvE hull?
If you want...
The fact that... Okay. Oh, we needed the Prototype Seeker?
No, that's not what I asked. You said you get a Defender in the raid and a Conqueror hull in the Bounty. When do you get your PvE?
Okay. What I'm saying is the Prototype Seeker was not needed.
I'm not saying it was either. Wasn't talking about that.
But that's what I'm talking about.
What you just said.
When do you get the PvE?
Yeah.
That PvE hull was not needed. That PvE hull was not required for the game.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking.
Is anybody understanding what he's asking then?
When do you get your PvE hull? If you're saying you get a Defender in the raid.
Also in the raid. You also get that in the raid.
Also, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the word I was looking.
what I'm saying is, as opposed to getting the prototype seeker, maybe you got the warden.
You know, Kixeye have been very smart. They get us to sit down every 14 days to do the chores, even to get the PvP hull. You do the bounty, or you get the PvE raid, whatever, to get that ship you need for that. So they have tricked us into playing and grinding every 14 days if you are an all-round player. You know?
It's more than that. It's actually all the
VXP
time.
weekend.
You got VXP weekend. You got TLCs.
Yeah.
You know, you got it all the time. This is turning into a 24/7 obligation.
Exactly. And you know, I have not seen any thing about the forum that they actually made us sit down. You know, it's the main event. It's PvP, bounty, and it's the raid. They have us sitting down twice a month to get the ship you needed to be viable in the game. For me, PvP is much more viable than PvE, but unfortunately, I also have to do PvE.
Yeah, they've got the best of both worlds. They make you have to do everything to be viable, to have a chance.
And we sit there just like jerks and do this shit every time, and they do it more often, and we still do it. And,
the only choice is to walk away, because we're not going to change them.
Yeah, I was going to say it's optional to play. So
until people,
the community can actually do something, but the community doesn't do anything. We just play along mostly.
No, the community will never band together long enough to be strong enough to do it. Because they would, you know, in order to break that, it's just like breaking a union. They say, "Oh, look, we got this new little boat over here that's really going to make it easy," and then everybody's right back to playing.
Yeah, I agree. But I know Kixeye is smart. They got us sitting here doing the important things every 14 days.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if you really want, I mean, of course, you're not going to be a top end player at this point, but if you really don't want to do both sides, you can always wait until the tech store and get a majority of the stuff, because they've already said those.
Yeah,
you can be unviable all the time and still have good tech.
Sure.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff is outdated and it has its use, you know. They gave us a turret, you kill everything. They give you armored, your base get level, you get your ship, you can level a base, and they counter that again and again and again. And, you know, they talk about they want to bring balance, and there has been a lot of swings. But lately, the last month has just been awful.
You know, what I find is funny is you play the game you want to play the game, you get abused. You have a good group that somebody plays with old tech and finds an advantage that Kixeye didn't see, and they will change that shit on you in 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it doesn't benefit them in any way.
I mean, I realize it's their game, but, you know, it
Yeah. It's like I've always said, though, as well, Ron, that if a slight change to them is a month of refits to me.
Yeah.
And also now you can see with the 115 and whatnot. In the beginning, when you had Icebreaker, you did very well with low damage. We got the sprint, we put it on the ship, and the Icebreaker worked brilliantly. And suddenly one week they adjusted the damage you take. And actually what they did, and you can see it now if you hit the 115, that your countermeasures shoot down almost everything. But before they did this adjustment, the execution and whatnot, they landed like 90% on your fleet and you got damage. So they just with the coding and whatnot, and they make the executioner not to be shut down with your anti.
You know, we got to call it what it is. This is an addiction. A lot of us are addicted, and a lot of us will pay to get what we want to make us happy. And they play on that addiction. If you get to the point to where you're doing well, you do it for a little bit of nothing, you still get your high, they change it. so that you got to go back and you got to refit everything. You got to put more money into it. You got to do it again so you can get that high of being on top. Doesn't make any difference whether it's PvP, PvE, FVF, whatever you do. They change the formula to make you more addicted all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We are suckers.
We are. I mean, if you want to get right down to it, we are. We're paying for something that has no value other than entertainment, and we're paying more for it than what we would do if we would go buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or a
Go to
4K
casino.
TV. Something that's tangible that you can touch.
Or go to a casino. Same thing.
The only thing that we have here is our friendships that we develop that are worth more to us than what the game is.
True.
You know, I mean, it sounds like I get mad at people all the time. I don't. That's just the inflection and the tone of my voice. I enjoy the hell out of the friendship that I've developed with Hefe. You know, I mean, everybody, Mike. I mean, you guys are you're basically the only reason that I'm really still around.
I got to ditto that.
Yep, I agree.
So what they've got is they've got us dependent on the game to want to play at a certain level, and they've helped us find friends that, let's face it, we probably would never have found in a million years just because of this game.
And we get fewer by the day.
Yep. Because people can't afford to play.
Yeah.
I mean, at the point to where you play and you don't get enjoyment out of it, you start thinking, man, I don't need this. And then you got to make a decision. Do I step away from my friends and save money, or do I keep paying? And you don't have to pay to play. You have to pay to be relevant.
No, not always.
Really?
I'm quite relevant, and I put nothing into this game since day one of playing it, which I do thank Kipside for inviting me to play as a free player, and I've enjoyed playing it for all 7 years I've played it.
Yeah, I think that ROM and GDaddy have different definitions. It's a definitional thing. Let's skip over this.
Yeah, I still play the game.
Yeah, you can play the game.
Yeah, but
hey, can we talk about that new hull that's coming out? What little we know about it?
the new
one that's
assault
going
hull?
to change 5 times by the time we plan it out and have a build for it?
Which one, the Warden, or are you talking about another?
No. The Manticore, the Manticore or the Warden? Which one are you referring to?
Oh,
the Manticore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good thing that we've gone down to a single hull. I mean, now as opposed to getting escalation weapons on 2, we're only getting escalation weapons on 1. But again, we have limited information. I mean, I wish they had timed this better and not done what they did with the FM, with the Inferno Dragon so early. And they waited till that point in time where we're not, because we don't know in the TLCs that are upcoming, do we need the Hydra? Do we need the Buck? Do we need them both? We don't know that information. So now people are forced to be doing both at the same time. Yeah, that's. I wish they had waited on the Inferno Dragon and the FM changes, and did this at the same time. Because now I'm a little bit afraid of what they're going to release, because most people are going to have their Inferno Dragons built at that point in time, and we're not going to see the flagship for that until June or July, I forget.
July.
I started with the J.
July.
Yeah, yeah. So
90 days until we see that flag, and how long is it going to take to build it?
base hull build of 42 days is what I heard.
What?
42 days. So now wait a minute.
No, I get.
Are you pulling my leg?
Well, no, I'm just projecting.
It's Hefe's fake news.
Yeah. It's my fake news because they don't actually tell me anything. I'm just saying. I mean, based on what we've seen before, what do you expect to happen? I mean, they need to fill that void somewhere. And I guess a lot of people went out and built the Proto Hunter, the Proto Tideseeker, which doesn't really appear to have a role at this point. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I mean, are they going to, increase build times? I have no idea what they're going to do to keep, because it's obvious at this point in time that they're going to keep taxing our shipyards at the same level that they already have. And then once the Manticore comes out, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's going to be much easier to get titanium to actually upgrade your mega ships, do whatever with your Conqueror Conquest Yard. So that will become easier at that point in time. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, and he also said that we were getting escalation weapons when in April or April tech
for the Manticore. Yeah, one's called the second one's called Scorpion. What's the first one?
I don't remember. I didn't write any of that crap down.
Okay.
Because I forgot again.
Yeah.
I remember they were all called something like there was like a group that they called it, and then they all had a similar type name.
Yeah, the escalation weapon is called Scorpion, and that's going to be missiles. The first one's going to be scatterguns. Since we don't all know the name, we'll call it the Cougar. So.
Yeah, and he said that I guess in a way they may not be escalation weapons, because the way he said it was you could tailor the ship to your play style, which to me kind of said, like, are you like someone who likes to rush, or are you someone that likes to be strategic? So like kind of the auto / skill hole built into one.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too far into it, but that's kind of what I gathered.
No, you can read into it. And another way to look at that also is to look at it the fact: do we need to build two of them? 2 hulls.
Yeah. Yeah, you only need one. You only need one hull. You only need one hull, but you got to build 2 fleets.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
That would be interesting for sure.
Mm-hmm. But at least you could mix them together in some sort of way, as opposed to what they've done with the Hydra and the Buccaneer, where they're mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive as far as targets go. And there was potential synergy that you might be able to use. But maybe you might be able to use some sort of synergy by mixing the two. Again, we're projecting way too far ahead, because we have nothing besides a name and a picture to talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Matt is like, remember that people had 3 to 4 MCX fleets for different roles. Yeah, and I also remember having my baser MCX, and most of them, I had. Well, I didn't have. I think I had 3, but I had battle cruisers as my tank for my MCX.
That was your choice to build the different types of battle of MCXs and
yeah,
whatnot.
you weren't forced.
You weren't. Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't a pigeonhole thing. It was, I want to put like launchers on it or whatever, and you totally could do different things. And that's what was cool about the game, is you could come up with different builds that worked that maybe shouldn't have.
Yeah, and we could also at that point use them for multiple purposes. Like I would use the MCX to hit bases. I would use it in the raid. I would use it to do the FM, and I would have different purposes for that hull, depending on. That's why I think I had a ton of them. I don't remember if I had 3 full fleets, but I had a ton of them for different roles.
Yeah, but
because we were allowed to use them in different roles.
Correct me if I'm wrong though, Hefe. Wasn't that when there were only 3 damage types, or were it when there were a 4th damage type out? You used to use like MX3, or you'd use MC3, or you'd use reactive armor 3, or you'd use layered armor 3. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and
You only had
that's
3 choices, didn't you, to choose from? You didn't have like corrosive, you didn't have concussive then, you didn't have radioactive then. So you've now got 6 armors to choose from, or 6 different weapons to choose from. You don't know what they're going to be defending with, and you don't know what you're going to be attacking with.
yeah, and you also only had 3 specials,
Exactly, yeah.
3 or 4 specials, and now we're at now we're at 6, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's harder for them. I mean, it's the reason we got put in a box, at least in my opinion, is escalation. And as they did escalation as far as damage and damage types and whatnot, I mean, the potential combinations just went up exponentially. And so they had to put us in a box, or otherwise they need to test all this stuff. And so once you went from 3 specials to 6 specials, and then you started adding in all these different armor types, they just took escalation in a weird way that I'm not sure if they look back on it, they would think it's the best way. I'm not certain. They may love the way they did it because it forces people to build this, that, and the other thing. But I'm not sure as far as gameplay, going from 3 to 6 weapon specials really improve the quality of the game for the players.
Well, I think the part of the game that they have done really well with is keeping and sticking to the damages that they're doing in the targets, like the siege has ballistic and radioactive. We know that, so we can put on ballistic and radioactive armor, which makes their target a bit weaker for us to kill.
Until they introduce the damage that you can't mitigate.
Yeah, until
Which they've done.
Well, other than plasma or whatever's going on in the 117s.
Yeah. But what do you think?
Well, you can't counter it, but yeah, you can just mitigate it.
Well, what do you think we're going to do if they decide to bring out a 7th damage? And we
already have the 7th damage. It's called plasma.
No. I mean one that we're going to be able to defend from, like
one with a name. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe next Friday's show is what is going to be the 7th damage type, but I'm not sure. And we could all vote on what the name of it's going to be. It won't really matter. It's just a name. It's just a 7th damage type.
Yeah.
Its code name is Moneymaker.
Yeah. So, all right. Anybody else have anything else as far as bounty? Has anybody turned over a new leaf and figured out what's going on with the 117 in some way that's probably people need to hear about, or no, probably not?
Not yet. I've got a friend who's building a fleet that can do it for free.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's I'm just afraid that they're going to fix that. They're going to up the splash on something, and now that the Zelos is going to die, and yeah.
Come on, Hefe. You don't have to be afraid. It's a given. It's like the amen in a Catholic church. It's like
Yes.
It's just what it is.
So, alrighty. All right. Unless anybody has anything else as far as Halo builds or anything like that.
Well,
no.
I wasn't here at the start. I don't know whether you asked it, but what's everybody aiming for in the bounty? I don't know. Did you already ask that question?
I was asking how people were doing. I mean, we can go. I think it's going to be considering the way the bounty's going, I think it's going to be drawn across money lines as far as what they're aiming for.
The prizes are good, but will you be able to get to get everything? You need to have 100-something thousand points.
Well, we did bring that up earlier as far as we're not sure the prizes are good. We're expecting a lot of them to change 3 days after redemption, especially the Halo 2, because that doesn't make any sense in the world.
Maybe someone forgot a zero somewhere instead of 60 to
Yeah.
600. You know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what's going on. Yeah. I'm not certain, but yeah. Is anybody? Like as you know, I'm not in love with the Halo 2. Completely in love with the Warden, but I would still plan to get it because it seems to have a lot of attributes that could be useful. What's the night? What's the countermeasure?
The Night Watch.
The Night Watch. We learned from Vengeful One that it will shoot once. It will target a incoming missile and not fire at it again, so it'll tag it. If you've been watching the shows previously, you know what that means, which means that it will fire at it and then consider it something to ignore. But it does not tag incoming mortars. And so this goes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I want tactical focus, but it's 10K a piece. That's correct.
Yeah.
And also the skins, if you get the skin, what is it, 10K? Why can't you just add a little bonus, like 5% more damage to the skin? Then it actually will be worth something, other than just a visual thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, skin shouldn't.
But
even
a lot of people are probably buying the pink onslaught, so I don't, not for me to, decide if that's a good choice or not. I did have somebody ask me, like, oh, I'm going to get the onslaught, and then I'm going to get the skin, the Rosa, and I was like, do you have the weapon and the special? No. And I'm like, well, you're better off getting, I was the bad guy saying you need to get the weapon and the special before you get the pink skin. And, whatever. I mean, different people have different choices. I mean, the decision was eventually to go for the weapon and the special as opposed to the pink skin. But I'm not sure I wasn't the bad guy in that situation.
Well, the few at the top just want to have a pink onslaught going around smashing everybody's base, don't they?
No, that was their budget. That was their budget. They had enough to get one onslaught and the Rosa.
I'm
so
talking
that was
that got all 4 of the skins. They just want a pink. They just want a pink onslaught to smash somebody's base up. That's all.
When you look at the prices,
everybody, please don't Google pink onslaught. Google image search. I'm not sure what's going to come up, but I would not do it. At least at work.
I can agree it's fun with a cool skin and whatnot, but the price they demand for a skin that's just silly. Really.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of why it's there for people that have the points to spend. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, I actually don't mind the cost of the skins because it's like it doesn't harm anybody else that they have a pink ship or a ship with flames on it or whatnot. It doesn't interfere with the strategy of the games. So
it's just wealthy.
Yeah. So all right. Well, I guess we're running towards the end of the evening, and I've asked before, and anything quick anybody has to say before I end the broadcast?
No, just collect your 2 bounties if you can't do a bounty like myself, and there must be someone around that can hit you and give you 200 defense bonus. So you do that twice, and you get the 2,000 bounty.
Okay. All right, and remember. So.
Be there or be square.
Always keep 1-0.
All right, I'm gonna post the link to the after show one last time, and see you all on Wednesday. Or who knows what we'll be talking about at that point. it'd probably be a slow show, I guess, because they won't have the FM release, and but we will be seeing how some of the stuff performs.
Why won't they have the FM release?
Because there's no new stuff to release. They only release,
Can I ask you, while we're still live, are people allowed to come on your Wednesday show, or is it just the Friday show?
Friday show is the open mic.
Right, okay.
Okay. Why are you questioning why Grimace is on?
No. Anybody else can come on as well.
or Rum?
Yeah, exactly. I'm worthless.
Yeah, no, it's Friday show we keep much more focused, and the Wednesday show we keep much more focused, and Friday is just for people to talk and express what they think about the game, and things like that.
It's just that you keep posting link on a Wednesday as well as on a Friday, so I just wondered if you're allowing other people on now.
It's Wednesday for the after show.
Yeah.
That's when the show's over. Yeah.
I think last Wednesday we were kind of low on topics and people too.
No. I always post at the last. After we're done with the slides, I always post the link in case anybody would like to join. Mm-hmm. After we're done with the slides, like the focus part of the show. I'm not sure that's a good idea because a lot of people want to watch the show and get everything in a contained period of time, but that's the way we do it. So okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Lady, everybody, and see you on Wednesday.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.